It's Elizabeth S. Dudley, and I'm known as Betty. From the New Hampshire, we went to Key West again for another tour of duty, and then from there didn't stay long before we were back in New London. My husband had a division of submarines, and he was ordered to, after that duty, he was ordered to take on a destroyer. He hadn't been on a destroyer since 1940, didn't even know how to go aboard the destroyer. As a matter of fact, I thought he was going to fall overboard getting there. He had stayed there a very short time. They decided to go to Europe for tour duty, so he took off for Europe, and I stayed in Marietta again. And by that time, we decided that this life was really very boring, so I followed him. Then from then on, I went to Newport. From Newport, we went to Philadelphia for overhaul. From overhaul, we moved back up, we moved to Annapolis, where at that time I decided to go to work. So I went to work as a social worker and the head interviewer for Anne Arundel Welfare Board. After working there 3 years, my husband was with the executive board in the Naval Academy. We decided that we'd had enough of all of that, so we built a house in Norwich, Connecticut, Hales Ferry, Connecticut, which is right near the New London place, and we went back to the submarines. At that time, John, as I say, decided that he was going to leave the Navy eventually, so he couldn't stand the duty on the destroyer, so they gave him a supply ship in the Med, and he traveled in the Med, and that same time the children and I joined him, and we eventually landed in duty in Turkey. My husband there was supervising a girl chuck, which was later destroyed almost with the earthquake just recently. And I taught at Georgetown University in Ankara there to teach English to the military. I don't know, they probably have a southern accent that nobody understands the word they say when they get to MIT, which is where they come. And anyway, though, it was quite an experience because I've been teaching high school for years in a private school, but I never had the students surprised when you entered the room, and this time, and then it scared me to death. I didn't know what was happening. But I had wonderful 2 years there in Turkey, and then we were ordered to Barcelona, Spain. And there my husband, as I say, picked up the supply ship. And from there, he went around in the Mediterranean on tours that he had to supply, from toothbrushes to sweaters or whatever they did. And I came back to put the 2 children in college. I had a daughter going to Colorado State University, and son decided to go he was at the University of Munich, University of Maryland in Munich for 2 years, and they both came back. And let's say my daughter went to Colorado State, and my son went to the University of Connecticut. And I went back to teaching school at Norwich Free Academy. Then my husband retired from the Navy, and from there he taught school with me, and he hated every day of it, but he spent 5 years doing that, and then he finally retired from that. We went to Florida to